All right. So do you want to do it as you were due, like saying it yourself, or you want just me to ask questions from these people, or how
A
would
little
you?
bit of both.
Okay.
So, this is Flash. He's our 5-year-old two-toed sloth, which means he has 2 toes in the front, and both two-toed and three-toed sloths have 3 toes in the back, but the difference is the front toes. So he is a two-toed. I am feeding him, this is a raw sweet potato at the moment, but he really likes zucchini and especially his green beans. Flash eats twice a day, and so in the morning, and that's also when we do encounters with him, is around his feeding time, not ours. And let's see if I can get him to kind of face this direction a little bit.
I was just about to ask. Thank you.
Read your mind. There we go. That's better. Now you can see everybody. Let's see. We have 2 sloths here on property at Ocoee Riverside Farm. And so Flash is our adult. It is this way. Flash is our adult sloth, and then we have Zoe, our baby sloth. She'll be 1-year-old on December 16th, so her birthday is coming up. We'll have to do a little celebration for her. Make a little cake out of spinach or something, her favorite. Spinach cake, doesn't that sound delicious? And so sloths in the wild, they poop about every 2 weeks. In captivity here, we're feeding them a lot more. And so they're gonna go poop about once every 7 to 10 days. And which is just crazy to me. I don't know how they do it, but that's how their digestion works.
Somebody wants to know, how do you determine if they're a two-toed or three-toed?
So just like it sounds, so a two-toed sloth has 2 toes in the front and they look like just little claws. We'll see if we can get Flash to maybe reach with his toe here. Might be a little hard to see, but there's just 3 little claws there. Or 2, sorry. La, la, la. I'm getting mixed up. 2 little toes on his hands or arms, whatever we're calling them.
That's right, and they are actually kind of changing over to switching it and saying 2-fingered or 3-fingered. And part of the reason for that is their front limbs are much more like their arms. So they're trying to switch over to encourage people to start saying that. And so we try to switch it back and forth. Do they always eat upside down? Pretty much.
That's a majority. Their esophagus is really different. It goes around it goes down and then around their stomach like this. And so they can eat upside down, sideways, backwards, every which way that they like. So this would be their natural eating stance. And they can reach really far, get leaves. Sloths are born with teeth, and they're actually very sharp. So every time that Flash opens and closes his mouth, his teeth are sharpening themselves, especially those front ones. When a sloth is born, they nurse on mom for the first 2 weeks, actually the first 4 weeks. And at 2 weeks old, they start eating their own foliage and leaves on their own.
So for the question of why do they move so slow, there's 2 reasons. One is to avoid detection by predators, and then the other one is because they don't want to consume a lot of calories. If their body temperature is too high or too low, they almost go into a state of hibernation. Their metabolism will slow down to 100 to 300 calories per day, which I'm pretty sure I'd burn that walking up a flight of stairs. So that is the reason that they move so slow, is they don't want to burn energy. We have a question here. Do we ever trim the claws?
Zoe's, they're not really, we don't trim them, but sometimes they do just get a little bit sharp, especially when they're babies, just because their toes are so small. I know, I'm sorry. Busy talking here. So it's more so maybe smoothing just the tips of them out, but they don't need trimmed.
To go back to the two-toed versus the three-toed, the question was more of are they in different regions?
You might know, you'll know the answer better than that one on Kevin.
Yeah, so the three-toed, they really only eat the leaves of sarcopia trees, which do not grow here. And then when you go, I believe it's Honduras, they'll have a lot of three-toeds there. They can tolerate pretty much the same climate, but it's their diet that's different. So the diet of the two-toed is very varied. Not to say very varied too many times, or we'll be Dr. Seuss again, but they just can eat a lot more. Somebody wants to know, are they social animals or do they prefer being alone?
They are naturally solitary animals. So in the wild, they would not have family groups, they would not be social with other sloths, and they would just, they're the ultimate introverted animal. And so they really just keep to themselves. The only time that two sloths would come together is to mate, a male and female. It takes 1 to 2 minutes, and then they go their separate ways. Daddy sloth never sees the baby, and so they are solitary. Now, a lot of people ask, well, so why are you handling them versus they should be in the wild, etc. So all of our sloths were bred in captivity, and we think of them as ambassador animals because there is a lot of misinformation when it comes to the wild sloths, and we're trying to educate people that wild sloths should remain wild sloths and stay where people aren't touching and, you know, interacting with them. There's multiple reasons. Number one, they're a wild animal. So just like you wouldn't interact with a tiger in the wild or a lion in the wild, you maybe watch them from afar. Just because it's like people pick up turtles because they're slow, but they're still a wild animal, and so we still need to respect their space. Just because you can pick them up doesn't mean you should. And it's the same thing with sloths. And in other countries, people will set up roadside stands with sloths because they're easy to grab out of the wild, and tourists will pay to pet them, and it does a lot of damage to the sloth. Even though they can't run away or get, you know, they're not going to be aggressive. It does damage their little environment. So I'll talk about that here in a second. Their fur, but it is stressful for the sloth as a wild animal to be touched by people, which shouldn't be done. These sloths have never been in the wild, and they were bred in captivity. So all they know is people. Kind of the difference between a cat and a feral cat, or house cat and a feral cat. If you had a little kitten that was born under a dumpster, he's not going to know any different and avoids people at all costs. Versus a kitten that was born in your home and is loving and sweet and wants to be on your lap and be cuddled.
Couple more questions. How do they digest upside down, and do they get any supplements, and do they socialize in captivity? We'll be doing flashcards next time.
I know, right? Flashcards. Do they socialize in captivity? No. The only socialization that they're really interested in is this. And then our baby sloth is used to being handled and held by people. Flash here was not raised being held by people, even though he was raised in captivity. But this, as you can see, he's, you know, we can touch him and get very close to him just like I am right now, and it's no big deal. So this is definitely not stressful. He's very used to this. So this would be his socialization for about half an hour while he eats, and then he sleeps the rest of the day. And same with our baby sloth, is she does enjoy being held actually. And John and Donna were out of town, and I was taking care of Zoe during that time. And so every morning when I'd walk into her enclosure to feed her, I would talk to her and say, "Good morning, Zoe," and she'd pop her little head up out of her basket, and she would definitely get excited about seeing and interacting with people. And I forget the other questions that were asked.
Somebody wanted to know, does Flash like hugs?
He does not. So he is not used to being held. Zoe, on the other hand, does love that, and she very much is very affectionate, and she will hang on you and put her arms around your shoulders and things like that. Flash is not used to being handled. He's used to being on a branch, and that's how he was raised, even though he was raised in captivity. You want to grab me some more green beans?
Yeah, for sure.
Flash is still looking for more, as you can see, and my bowl's empty. I'm sorry, buddy. We'll get you here in a second.
So since we're doing some more food, do you want to explain to him what he eats?
Yes. Oh, here's one more. Just popped up out of nowhere. Where'd that come from? So Flash really likes raw green beans. He also eats zucchini, spinach. He really likes bananas for his fruit. We've given him mangoes in the past, but you have to be careful how much fruit, aka sugar, goes into their diet because it can mess up their gut digestion. And so we keep him on very specific. He does get a pellet in the evenings, but everything is always fresh food. Nothing is cooked for him. Trying to think what else. Zucchini, green beans, spinach, raw sweet potato, and then the pellet. Our baby sloth, Zoe, is on a diet, and this is her baby diet, is on cooked brown rice, raw sweet potato, finely chopped, and then a pellet that we soak that turns into like a mash. And so that we kind of make this rice mash mixture that's really soft for her. And that's what Zoe eats, and then during the day she'll kind of snack on spinach leaves, fresh spinach leaves also. That's her favorite little treat.
A lot of people want to know, how do they come do this? Where are we at? Those kind of questions.
Yes, come visit us and come see Zoe, come see Flash. So the name of the farm is Ocoee Riverside Farm. Ocoee is on the name of our account, so you can see that and click our link in the bios to be able to go to our website to book those. But you can do this exactly what I'm doing with Flash right now. You can do this. So you can feed Flash, and our encounter with Zoe, the baby sloth, you can actually hold her. We're one of the very few encounters that you can actually hold a baby sloth, not just feed them like this. We've had a lot of people come and see Zoe and hold her and do the sloth snuggles, and I would say at least half of the people said, we've been trying to find a sloth encounter where you could hold them and not just feed them, or feed them from a distance. So like Flash here, you can get nice and close. I'm touching him with my face. This is totally fine. He's looking for more food at the moment. So you can get up nice and close and take pictures, videos, as many as you want. And then same thing with Zoe, you can take as many pictures and videos and then actually hold her, and she will be hanging on you on her neck like a sweet little baby.
Somebody wanted to know, is that a sloth?
Yes, this Flash is a two-toed sloth, and Zoe, who is not in the room right now, but she is just a smaller version of Flash, and she is our baby two-toed sloth. And then I had heard a rumor we're getting a new baby sloth. The rumor was this month, and so she's not going to be, we're getting another female baby. She's not going to be ready for encounters day one because we still need to quarantine her and get her comfortable. But I'm sure we'll be making lots of announcements of when we can have the new encounter with our newest baby available.
Someone wanted to know, how long do they live?
That is a very good question. So the true answer is we don't know. We do know, however, there is a sloth in captivity, a two-toed sloth in captivity that has been here for 50 years. And I say here, been in captivity for 50 years. So we know for sure 50, but it could be a lot longer. Just sloths in general haven't been kept in captivity for more than really 50 years successfully, long term. And so we don't know the actual long-term age of a sloth at this point.
They want to know, can Flash grab his own food?
He can. He kind of trying to think of, he can definitely grab stuff, but because he doesn't have fingers to really wrap around things, he can grab it, but imagine just grabbing stuff like this with your hand. And so you can grab things, but you're probably not going to be able to pick up, you're not going to be able to pick up small things for sure. But really what their arms are for is to reaching a branch and pulling it to them, and then they eat the individual leaves. So it's more so for grabbing larger items to pull it in closer to either climb pulling in a branch to eat the leaves. Huh,
Did he eat a good bit?
he did.
Okay, we can go ahead and let him back in.
Okay. I think this is the coolest part because you can see he's like, I'm done. I'm ready to go home now.
Now I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get in there as quick as I can.
Okay. Go, go, go.
Guys, this is Flash's area. It's 2 stories. And as he goes up, you'll be able to see he goes to his hammock, and you can actually stay here at the camel condo and be his roommate. Or he might be coming to see me, who knows? We are located in Benton, Tennessee, halfway between Chattanooga and Knoxville. Where are you going, bud? He's thinking about going outside, but there's no way
Yeah,
I'm
it's way
opening
too
that
cold there.
door because it's way too cold. The moisture's probably good, but a little chilly for him.
No, nothing in that tape, no. I was eating them.
Evan has the video on.
Huh?
Evan has the video on.
Oh, that's good. Been watching the still grapes.
For the animals,
Put it, I gotta test it first.
right? Quality control.
Mm-hmm. Back there.
That one. Yeah. Nice and strong.
All right, that's it, y'all. Flash is in bed. So if you want to be able to hang out with the sloth and be able to see him have his cute little sleeping and hanging out, just book the camel condo. It's really cool. We're not going to be feeding Zoe right now. She's already been fed, but I'm sure we're going to be doing some other stuff. Thanks so much, everybody. Remember to like and follow and share and all that good stuff. Thank you.